Wrestle Plug 444 Life.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's time to #get plugged in.
The refreshing, empowering moment that we have all wanted from WWE.
It's like ordering a medium pizza and then turning up with an extra large and a bottle of Coke.
You absolute moldy cheese fucking baby bell dairy lead dunk of shit.
What happens is these fucking people live in this fantasy land.
Everyone got their shit in, everyone got each other over, everyone looked good, and made the industry look great.
People need to fucking back the fuck off Ronda Rousey.
New to pump wrestling talent.
Super kill! Mamma mia!
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome back to the Wrestle Plug podcast. I am, of course, your host, Aeron Nix, the master of design and probably the most unpopular podcasting host of all the UK. If we actually bothered to do that many podcasts these days, but it turns out it's pretty sparse when it comes to news, but state of wrestling address nonetheless. We haven't really spoken to you for a couple of weeks since Extreme Rules, so some geezers joining me from Canada. You alright, mate?
Oh yeah, no, it's let's be honest, there's really nothing that interesting to talk about, but we're going to try really hard.
Stop ruining the vibe so early doors. Yeah, it's shit. Fuck this podcast. Fucking hell. So yeah, I hear you got a Tinder match, mate. Talk to me about that. Any good? Is it a real person or is it one of them robots?
I mean, you never know, but we had a bit of a conversation last night, so that was exciting.
Did any of the conversations discuss transferring money?
It did not, no, actually, which is shocking.
Good sign she might be real. What other things would suggest that it might be a real conversation? Is she from your area? Is she from Peterborough?
Well, apparently Tinder says she's like 40 kilometers away, but that's really not that far.
It's not too far at all. I mean, well, let's be honest, men. We've all stalked someone from more than 40 kilometers away. Am I right, men? Definitely.
No, I can agree with that.
Yeah, it's fair. It's absolutely fair. It's absolutely fair. So, I wish you the best of luck. So, man, online dating is something that I'm really grateful I never have to do again because Tinder.
It's awful.
Oh, it's so dreadful that the fact that like your worth comes down to somebody swiping on a picture of you. And I when I was single, I was always told like, oh, you know, you have to put up really artsy photos. You know, women like really nice photos, artistic photos of you wearing a suit, you know, black and white at a wedding or whatever. And it's like, I'm sorry, I live in the real world. I'm not a Los Angeles headshot model, you cunt. Like, just the concept of it is grim. That and people don't know how to have conversations anymore, I've noticed. Like, we're all digital now, aren't we? Let's be honest. Like, nobody's got time for a real conversation. And I'm going to sound like an old man for a little bit here, but I do like the old magic of being able to actually sit down and talk to somebody who's next to you or across the table from you, have a coffee, you know, get to know each other. Nowadays, it's like, I read on your bio that you like fireworks. Yay! What's your bio read as? Would you care to share your Tinder bio with us, Mr. Wilkinson? For all the perspective, because you know all them ladies love the Wrestle Plug and they'll be just queuing up for a bit of the old Canadian maple syrup.
All right, let me find this app.
Sugar-free, of course.
It's actually very clever.
I look forward to this.
So,
I'm going to rate your bio out. I'm going to give it the old Meltzer rating.
Oh, I'm not with AEW, so I'm probably going to get, negative 18 stars.
That's true, and you're also not competing in Japan.
Yeah. So all it says is I could put something here, but it might give you an unrealistic expectation that I probably won't live up to.
Is that it?
Yeah, there's not much to say about it.
Confidence, man. Confidence. Tell you what, anyone listening, message in and let us know what you think Carl Wilkinson should have on his Tinder profile, because saying I could write something here, but it may give you an unrealistic expectation of me is a bit depressing. I imagine from a woman's perspective, they would appreciate a bit of confidence, mate. Why don't you put in there that you're a podcast host? You don't say Wrestle Plug. But come on, you are a podcast host. Like, just put in there, like, I'm a podcast host. I take great job, or make it something make it sound ridiculously posh, even though it's not. Do you ever remember when you had a shitty job? Like, but you try and make it sound really good. Like for me, because I was obviously used to be a postman, I'd be like, yes, I'm a corporate delivery agent. You know, something of that region. Or if you were, for instance, if you deliver papers on a paper round, you're a freelance delivery agent. You know, little things like that. You can always modify it.
Yeah, like if I was at McDonald's, to say I work at a kitchen in a restaurant.
Exactly. If you say you flip burgers at McDonald's, you could call yourself a culinary expertise. Stupid shit like that. Let's be honest.
I haven't touched that bio in years. So
change it, man. Freshen it up.
Let's see that.
Get some fresh photos on there as well. Get your German suplex tee up there as well. And by the way, ladies and gentlemen, if you want to buy yourself a German suplex tee, it's wrestleplug.bigcartel.com. Oh yeah, now available full time. They are comfy, actually. Yeah, very proud of them. Yeah, Street Shirt's done a good job for us, bless them. A lot better than the other T-shirt manufacturer, which will be not named at this point, for shame.
Except they gave me a voucher that said, hey, I'm going to read this voucher to you guys directly. It says, thank you for ordering from Street Shirts. We have identified your order as one that did not meet our high standards of dispatch time. By way of apology, please find your 10-pound voucher below. And it expired on the 20th of July, 2020. I got my T-shirt on the 23rd.
So, Street Shirts doing a good job making the T-shirt. Now, I know there's... I should just point out for anyone who does want to buy T-shirts, they are comfy, they are well designed. However, they also, due to the coronavirus, are taking quite a while to ship, which is, of course, shipping from the UK to Canada, from a good boy Carl here, of course, was going to take extra time as it was. So the fact that they were like, hey, do you want £10 off a free T-shirt? Well, tough shit, because we sent it late. Money. It's like the Vince McMahon method. You can all have £10 off the network if you sign up last week. Ha-ha! More money. Just... a real cunty way of doing business, so do better there, Street Shirts. I don't mind calling you out because there are numerous people that I can have my T-shirts printed by. But the hope is eventually we'll be able to print them. Before we discuss what minute wrestling there is to discuss, I should point out as well, I'm going to get out of the way nice and early. As everybody knows, I'm an independent artist. I live independently. Obviously, money is very difficult to come by. So all the money that I do earn from commissions, etc., goes back into putting food on the table. At Aeron Design on Instagram, if you want to see anything that I do, my style, my art, I do wrestlers, I do all sorts of things. So check it out. Let us know what you think. I do video editing and stuff like that. If you want commissions done affordably, all you have to do is send me a message. I'll leave it at that. Nothing too fancy, but just remember, guys, if you are going to be obviously returning to wrestling soon, with the independent wrestling scene opening back up around October over here, and already I've noticed that in America as well, the independent wrestling scene is starting to at least pick up a little bit with places like GCW. Obviously, you want to invest in yourself. If you invest in me, I'll make sure that I invest all of my time, my entertainment, and my skills in you as an individual, whether that be in wrestling or any other field of work, at Aeron Design on Instagram. Or if you don't have Instagram, but you do want to contact me about any kind of work, and that means any work, graphics, videos, or whatever, you can contact at WrestlePlug. So that'll be it. And also follow Kyle on Twitter because he's lonely, at @Kyle_Wilkinson.
Yeah, I believe that's what it is.
Yeah, he's edgy. He's such an edgelord. But if you have a thirst for Scottish women and Japanese women, then his account is absolute money. So yeah, wrestling.
Not wrong. Not wrong.
No, we're not wrong. Well, we try our best. So, fuck it. Well, I know you're happy about this. I'm not really that bothered. Zack Ryder has signed on the dotted line and has joined AEW as Matt Cardona, which I'm assuming is close to his real name. I don't really give a shit, but I know you quite like Zack Ryder, and I know you're quite stoked for the idea, and you did say you would pop over the idea. Do you have high hopes for the use of Zack Ryder in AEW?
Well, I mean, his debut essentially was with Cody, because I know they're really good friends outside the ring, I believe. So, I mean, that's a really cool moment for him, but I want to have high expectations. It's just WWE drummed into me that Zack Ryder didn't deserve any opportunity, so honestly, right now, I don't. Maybe he'll get a match with Cody down the line because Cody's been doing some heel stuff. He's kind of turning into a dick, which is fine with me. I love Cody as a heel. He's a dastardly little fucker, isn't he? But maybe we'll get a match for the TNT Championship down the line. But right now, it's just cool to see him working again.
Yeah, I'm pleased that he's gone somewhere where he's going to get some use. At the end of the day, he's getting no use in WWE, like literally none. And on the flip side of things, you probably noticed Kurt Hawkins has signed on the dotted line with Impact. So both guys, although not together anymore, finding new places of employment. I quite like Kurt Hawkins. He's got, for me, quite an upside for Impact. I like his gimmick of, I'm a traditionalist. I believe in doing things the right way, shaking hands, respecting the locker room etiquette. He's going to be like an old school kind of here. A little bit like FTR in a lot of ways are for the tag team division, bringing it back to that more traditional sense. I think it's good. But I don't care about Zack Ryder. I haven't for years. That's not necessarily his fault. A lot of that has to do with WWE just drilling him into the ground. Like, how can you care about a guy that they tried to bury as hard as they could? I don't think I've ever seen anyone buried harder than Zack Ryder in this business. To go from potentially being the hottest face the company had ever had, getting himself over, you son of a bitch, US champion as well, I think, for a month before he was dethroned, and then just kind of brutalized. And I think a lot of it was down to, and then there was the whole, John Cena, that upstanding guy, John Cena, who got off of his missus in front of him? Yeah, that guy. He's a classy guy. Oh, big match John, getting out his big match John for the eve. But yeah, yeah, fair enough to him. You know what? But when you debut, and your debut is casually walking out and attacking a couple of the Dark Order, and not even the good ones either, the shit ones, I was like, yeah, I don't really care. But the Dark Order seem to be hovering around. I must admit, I did enjoy Brody Lee, by the way, giving Hangman Page some stick, who I'm all aboard the Hangman Page bandwagon now. I've finally come around to it. The other thing I really wanted to talk about was the fact that MJF is now taking on this Donald Trump-esque persona. Cut this world-class promo on Dynamite. He did, and I quote from Jim Ross, a state of wrestling address. Yeah, you better give us royalties for that.
Sorry, what?
Wearing toss
Copyright infringement? Excuse me?
Yeah, fucking right. No, I mean, to be honest, it's probably been done for you. To be fair, I'm pretty sure DX called that thing where they started swearing at a podium the state of wrestling address, so, But anyway, either way, MJF, it's nice to see that you're copying from the big boys. I appreciate that, brother. Anyway, cut this amazing promo, and it looks like he's going to be the next contender for Jon Moxley's title. I think this is now the time to, pull the trigger and make him the champion. In that one promo, he cut the kind of promo that Jon Moxley could only dream of. I hate to jump back on the, fuck Jon Moxley bandwagon, because I did enjoy him for a little bit. When he first came into AEW and he was Moxley and not, watered down Shield boy Dean Ambrose, it was exciting. And ever since, it's kind of gone backwards. And I don't like his title run. I think as well, his matches have not lived up to the hype. I think even his match with Brian Cage, which for me was probably his best match as a champion at least, I wasn't that hot on it. It's funny, when you take someone like Jericho out of the equation, it's amazing how far down things go. And I think it speaks volumes about Chris Jericho as a talent as well, that when he was champion, you just had to have your eyes on the product at all times. When Jon Moxley's champion, I look more towards Cody, and I think eventually we got to work our way back to Cody being champion, because I think he is, for my money, the best all-round wrestler they have by some margin. I really do. I think his ability to tell stories is phenomenal. But MJF, number one contender for Jon Moxley's title, you must be excited about that.
Oh yeah, I love MJF. I know a lot of people just love to hate him. They get worked or they're marks for themselves or something. But I mean, I didn't meet him because he wasn't doing any meet and greets, but he was at a Destiny show once. He wrestled Josh Alexander. He got into Josh Alexander's wife's face and said something, and she just fucking slapped the taste out of his mouth. He can just draw heat from literally anyone. She's also a wrestler, by the way, so that it was fine. But I love MJF. I haven't seen this promo yet because, I'll be honest, guys, just wrestling in general, I've been a little disinterested in. No reason why, but I'll still watch and catch up where I can. But I still need to see this because, from all accounts, MJF is just, just brilliant. I'd love to see him as champ, honestly. I haven't been excited for Moxley as champ probably since the day after he won it, because the match with Jericho was really good. I really enjoyed it. And then the matches he's had since has been like, like think about it. Moxley's best matches are with Jericho and Omega. And now it's just, he's there, he's champ. Good on you, buddy. I don't care.
Yeah, no, that's kind of how it's been with me. At first, it was, oh my God, it's Jon Moxley. John Moxley! Which is probably the highlight of him now, is Justin Roberts doing his entrance, and then it all goes downhill from there. I think it's time for a new champion. I don't think he has delivered the way that he should have. I know that they put the belt on him because he's a marquee guy, but if you really want to stand out and you really want to show these convictions of we're a new company, we're not like those people over there, then you have to go with what you have that they don't have. MJF is easily the hottest talent you have. He's one of the best wrestlers you have. He garners better heat than anyone else. He called someone from Cultaholic a pedo, which popped the shit out of me. I have nothing but admiration for the man. I think he's fucking phenomenal. And I love it when people are like, oh, he's fucking shit. And like, the really funny thing is, even the people who are smarks get worked by him because they're like, oh, it's shit heel heat. He just says really shitty things to get heel. Well, you're moaning about him, aren't you? So you got worked and all, you dumbass. Like, that's how it is, man. That's how a heel should be. You should hate him irregardless. I genuinely think he might be the best heel in the world because everybody universally hates him. I cannot think of anyone who is more hated than him for his job, you know, for what he does well. So I think he'll be excellent. I'd be remiss if I didn't point out, I know you didn't watch this week, which is fair enough. Cody wrestled Warhorse finally. Now, I'm not...
I don't know who that guy is.
So Warhorse is a really good independent wrestler. He's fun. You know, he's an American. So how can I put this? do you like The Darkness? Have you ever heard The Darkness? You know, the kind of AC/DC comedic cover kind of rock band.
I believe in a thing called love. Did they do that one?
Yeah, those guys. So he's basically a bit like that for Ultimate Warrior. He's like a camp Ultimate Warrior. So, you know, he'll come out, he'll give it the, you know, the twin horns. Yeah, rock and roll. Like, he's the kind of person who you would imagine would just consistently sing like a 1980s heavy metaler. Like, yeah! Like, just all the time.
Like some Iron Maiden shit or something?
Yeah, he is very Iron Maiden. I like his gimmick. I like his face paint. He still, however, on a show like this, feels low rent. And this is the point I'm getting to. So Cody has kind of made the TNT Championship a title to face indie guys. Now, for me, I don't see Ricky Starks as an indie guy. And I don't see Eddie Kingston as an indie guy. I see them as guys who work the indies predominantly, but they have been on, you know, for instance, those two guys alone have been on NWA. That's not an indie. You know, that's a big promotion, whether you like it or not. I know a load of fans are going to be, I only wrestle in front of 100 people. It's like, yeah, that's because that's called money, mate. When you start running a company, you'll realise that wrestling in front of 20,000 people is not a viable alternative, you fucking morons. But yeah, I'm kind of getting bored with the whole, which independent wrestler would he face this week shtick? Because although he's having amazing matches with so many people, and I'm enjoying the shitbag thing, like in this match, he was doing press-ups, he wasn't taking Warhorse seriously. The problem is, I look at Warhorse, he comes out with his fairy boots on, and he's, you know, he's, with all due respect, crappy face paint, and I don't get it. I don't think Warhorse is a star. I think he's fun. I definitely cheer for him at an indie show. I'm not saying he isn't talented, but is he a Cody Rhodes? Is he a Ricky Starks? Is he a Brian Cage? Is he a Jon Moxley? No, he's not. He's nowhere near those kind of guys. His catchphrase is Warhorse rules ass, right?
Oh, really?
I know, right? Yeah, like.
Is he 12?
Sort of. That's kind of what I'm getting the impression of. But my point is, wrestling the odd indie guy is great fun, right? Especially if they got a lot of clout. Eddie Kingston was cool. And what Eddie Kingston did, because we didn't get a chance to talk about it last week, the great thing about Eddie Kingston was he brought something else out of Cody. Cody had to do something different. Instead of being this cocky, egotistical guy who could knock off the easy indie guys or, you know, the good, wholesome face that he can be at times, he had to kind of dig deep. He had to be violent. He had to be aggressive because Eddie Kingston brought this new level out of him, thumbtacks and everything. It was a great match. The story told was beautiful. I loved it. Absolutely wonderful. It was like watching this pristine, gorgeous, wrestler, this great technician versus the brawler versus the mucky, old, slightly portly, but nasty ass motherfucker, you know? Like Cody looked like the quintessential businessman, you know, whereas Eddie Kingston looked like the brawler, like a hitman for the mafia, like a dirty, dirty bastard. And I love that. It works so well for him. He's as raw and as real as it gets, and I like that. That's why people love Eddie Kingston, because they can relate, because we look more like Eddie Kingston. People don't look like Cody Rhodes. That's just not a thing. But I am getting a bit fed up with this whole, oh, who's next? Because, yeah, you're popping the few thousand people who watch these guys on the indies, and yeah, it's great, but, you know, people are saying, oh, yeah, but, you know, it's Warhorse's biggest moment, and by doing this, Cody's giving them an opportunity to shine. They can still have an opportunity to shine. They don't have to wrestle for a major title every time. Are the matches great? Yes. Is Cody fantastic? Absolutely. Should he be the main champion, not just the TNT champion? Fucking right he should. But as much as I enjoy seeing these indie guys, it's hard to say. And I, as somebody who loves independent wrestling more than anything else, but for me, if you want this company to succeed, if you want this company to get to the next level, you have to use stars. You have to build stars as well. And I know people will say, where'd you get the stars from? You got to get them from the indies. Of course you do. But they got to build up to it. Throwing them in the deep end like that, and sort of saying, oh, sink or swim, is fine to a certain extent, but it's not going to bring in the ratings. You know, you put Warhorse, right, on a marquee. Are people going to watch that? Probably not. On the other show, you got Keith Lee versus Karrion Kross. Or you could watch Cody, who's amazing, versus a guy who can wrestle really well, but looks like the Ultimate Warrior came on his face. I know which one I'm going to go for, mate. Like, you know, there's a certain degree of polish that you need when you perform like this and you present like this. And for me, if you want people to take your product seriously and you want it to have longevity, you're going to have to, you know, you'll have to do more for me. You know, bring in more credible guys. And there are a lot of guys from the indies as well, or from other companies that aren't being used. And for me, AEW would be well served to try and bridge a gap between them and NJPW, and of course Impact as well. I think the only way, and Don Callis said this once on a podcast, and I really believe this is my final point on this. He said that the only way that anyone will ever be able to offer a true viable alternative to WWE is if everybody else is able to cooperate, work together. You know, freedom of movement. Let NJPW work with Impact. Let Impact work with AEW. Let AEW work with AAA, you know, and just link up as one big unit. Then all of a sudden you have more international appeal. You know, you've really got to bring something different. And stuff like this, being like, see how cool we are. We got the guy who wrestles in front of 100 people in Kentucky, bumfuck nowhere. That's great. But at the same time, it's not going to draw in the numbers. Less and less people watch wrestling for a reason. It's just not that cool anymore. It's quite a niche sport. And I know people get really pissy about that, and wrestling fans especially, with the whole, it's the real to me, damn it. But it's a niche. Not even 1 million people watch on Wednesday anymore. You know, they do over the two shows, but when was the last time either NXT or AEW garnered over 1 million viewers? Not since the first shows, I don't think. I think they've just dropped off dramatically, and they're averaging between 600,000 to 800,000. It's difficult. It really is, and it is kind of disappointing. And as much as I like seeing these indie guys, they're not going to draw money. I'm sorry, but they're not. Guys like Warhorse, and by the way, for all the fucking hype and fuss that everybody made on the internet, oh, Cody fears Warhorse, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, it was a great showing, but it wasn't spectacular. You know, it certainly wasn't worth all the fucking hype you gave it. Sorry, but it wasn't. It just is what it is. I really have to rant about the use of women. So, AEW has
Let's do it. Let's go.
Right, AEW has a tag team tournament coming up. I don't know if you've seen this. They're doing a women's tag team tournament.
I did see this, yes.
Yeah. So, there's so many things I could talk about in the women's. Now, of course, you know, I'm starting to realise why WWE fans hate AEW fans just as much as why AEW hate WWE fans. Both sides could be fucking stupid, and AEW fans bury their heads in the fucking sand. You know, people were saying to me, because I said on Twitter the other day, oh, what a surprise, another week where the women are woefully underutilized. And somebody was like, oh, you know, typical AEW marks, people with at All Elite and all that kind of shit on their fucking handles were coming at me and saying, oh, fucking, you know, who else should be wrestling then? Oh, you know, what women could have just as good a match as the men? I was like, quite a few of them, if they were fucking used, dipshit. And people are saying, oh, well, all their stars are injured and all that. Yeah, well, that doesn't matter if you've got enough stars. Sorry, but injuries should... When two women are injured, that should not completely cripple your division. And yet AEW has somehow found a way of doing that. And we were all excited about the idea of Nyla Rose, you know, with Vicky Guerrero. I wasn't personally. And now we find out she's going to be tagging with... Did you see the other debutant this week on AEW, Mr. Wilkinson?
Cameron or...
Ariane, which is her real name, I believe. Yeah. Whoopee, a Funkadactyl. That's the best you've got to offer us right now. Come on, man. One show is giving us Io Shirai versus Dakota Kai. The other one is giving us the possible tag team of Nyla Rose with Vicky Guerrero, who is just fucking AIDS to listen to at this point, and a Funkadactyl. Jeez, I'm sorry, AEW fans, but if you're going to have the nerve to sit there and fucking tell me, oh, AEW is just as good as WWE, if not better, because they appeal to my indie fans, and fuck off. That's fucking garbage. Do not tell me that Britt Baker, sitting in a fucking, you know, calling herself role model or whatever it is, and sitting in a fucking wheelchair is on a par with, you know, Candice LeRae having a street fight with someone like me and you. It's fucking not. It's ridiculous that you could even think so. Absolutely embarrassing. And that the proof is in the pudding. We had Diamante versus Hikaru Shida this week, but it was about 3 minutes. If you blink, you would have missed it because they wanted to get out of the way so that they could fucking crack on with something else. Pointless. Absolutely pointless. Garbage. Go out and fucking get good women's wrestlers. You're quite happy to bring in all these fucking scrubs from the indies to wrestle Cody every 5 minutes. How about you start actually using the women that are available to you? I've seen women running around like Kenzie Page. She's been available. Obviously, Big Swole. What the fuck? I assume Big Swole must have some sort of injury, which is why they suspended her. Because otherwise, it is a fucking shit gimmick. Because she is easily one of the best talents they have in charisma and looks. But you've got Nyla Rose, you've got Hikaru Shida, where the fuck is Penelope Ford? Is she injured? Because she hasn't wrestled since she had that incredible match with Hikaru Shida for the title. That was, 3-4 weeks ago? Do better. Do better. And also, this is my other point about this women's division. Having a tag team tournament when you don't even have a credible singles tournament, a credible singles division, is pathetic. It's absolutely pathetic. How insulting to the women. Oh, well, you know, we haven't really got the singles division together. By the way, I'm told that Kenny Omega books the women's division. If that is correct, you, sir, are fucking shit at booking women's wrestling. And I don't mind saying that. And I know people will be like, what's your name? Jim Cornette? Because I don't hate Kenny Omega at all. I think he's a wonderful wrestler. I really enjoy watching Kenny Omega. I don't subscribe to the Kenny Olivier nonsense that Jim Cornette spouts, although I do find it very amusing. But at the same time, I'm sorry, just because everybody loves Kenny because he's so nice and he's, you know, he's metrosexual and all that kind of stuff. I don't care about that shit. I care about you giving me the best product available, and you're not doing that. You are letting down the side. And what could speak... by the way, anyone listening who's saying, oh, you're completely wrong. Oh, the women's division is fine. Really? Is it? Because all the figures are coming out soon, aren't they? They're releasing their first figures. And have you noticed how, other than Jericho and I think Moxley, they're all fucking bum chums for the Elite. And the only figure available for the women is Brandy Rhodes. Not your first champion, Riho. Not your current champion, Hikaru Shida. Not Nyla Rose. Not none of the women who won the title. Not Penelope Ford. Not somebody who wrestles every week. Not even a gimmick like Christina. No, the chief brand officer who is currently embroiled in this stupid fucking rivalry with Ali, where they're a tag team that are highly successful, even though Ali fancies QT Marshall and doesn't have any interest in talking to Brandy. That's your figure. I'm sorry, but I will be gobsmacked if that figure sells. And by the way, if you're out there and you're thinking, oh, I'm going to spend my money on a Brandy Rhodes figure, you're a fucking moron too. Come on. I don't have anything against Brandy Rhodes. I think she's an amazing woman. She's very empowering. She's obviously very beautiful. She's great at what she does. But is she a full-time wrestler? No. Is she a good wrestler? Let's be honest. No. And she is the first action figure in AEW's line. I know people say, oh, it's just an action figure. Those things are a big fucking deal. They are a big fucking deal. Toys, merchandise, those kind of things, they're very important. How is there no Luchasaurus figure? How is there no Lucha Brothers figure? Where's the MJF figure? Garbage. But you got the Young Bucks. What's the point? Just buy one and then take another photo of it and stick it next to it. Utterly pointless, mate. What a waste of my fucking time that is. You can't honestly tell me, like, what the hell is wrong with these people? Useless. I love AEW. I enjoy watching it. I think it's great. And people listen to this will think, oh, he's a fucking hater. He loves WWE. Actually, I'm the first person to defend AEW against WWE. I love both products. I'm not one of these fucking idiot marks who's like, oh, I'm brand loyal. I only like one. How buy? Shut the fuck up. Like, just like what you like and watch what you like. But don't fucking sit there and bury your heads in the sand every time what you like does something wrong. If I have a restaurant, right, that I love, and I go there and I have, 9 meals. Let's say I go to the same restaurant I love 10 times. If 9 of my meals are amazing and one of my meals is an absolute dog turd on a plate, I still have a right to complain about said dog turd on my plate. That's how life works. If somebody hands you a pile of shit, if only for a moment, it is still a pile of shit. And people need to be aware of that. People are like, oh yeah, well, it's mistakes are made. No. These aren't mistakes. These are outright shit lies. These are outright garbage decisions. Poor booking. Do better. It's an absolute mockery. And you wonder why so many women's talents have sidelined themselves from going to AEW and seem to find their way to Impact. Someone like Deonna Purrazzo. How do you miss signing Deonna Purrazzo? Because they must have fucking had an opportunity to at least talk to her. And if she said, no, I want to go to Impact, that's fine. But come on, man. Look at Impact. Look at what they're doing with their women. Look at how they showcase them. They ensure that they have matches every week. They had high-profile matches on their pay-per-view as well. Great matches, too. It's so disappointing. And it's the most infuriating thing for me isn't necessarily the fact that AEW books their women so poorly. It's the fact that their fans just bury their heads in the sand for it. But that's pretty much it as far as AEW is concerned. There wasn't really much else to go on about other than FTR throwing a giant cooler at the back of Brody Lee, which was amusing for a moment. But anything you want to say on the subject, mate?
I mean, I think it's quite common knowledge that this podcast has just been dedicated to empowering women's wrestling. Like, we've loved it since the start. And AEW is supposed to be like this, new shiny thing that is supposed to fix all the problems that, WWE had before. But AEW has the weakest women's roster. I'm sorry. That's a lie. I'm not sorry. They have the weakest women's roster. They do have incredible talents, like that's undeniable. But you have a 2-hour show and you give your champion and someone else 5 minutes? Whereas, on the other side, you've got Io Shirai and Dakota Kai beating the shit out of each other. You've got, Tegan Nox and, Candice LeRae. Like, they're just... Women have stories. They get time. They get development. And I love Hikaru Shida. That is, everyone knows that by now. But 5 minutes? And that's all you get from the women on this supposedly, fantastic, brand new shiny toy? We said this to WWE a lot, and this might be the first time I've said it about AEW personally, but do better. You owe us that. Do better. Yeah, don't be out here acting as if you're superior in every sense, because you're not. On the flip side of things, I watched Impact again this week. Just felt it was worthy of talking about. So, Wrestle House. Have you seen it yet? I've seen bits and pieces, yeah.
Good boy. So, Tommy Dreamer is now officially my favourite star ever. So I watched the thing with Tommy Dreamer versus Moose. I'm not going to lie. When I saw that Slammiversary before, I do not care. I do not give a shit if Tommy Dreamer ever wrestles again. However, I do give a shit about Tommy Dreamer adding his wicked sense of humour to this mate. Now, I know that most of you will not have seen it. Please bear with me when I discuss this with you. So Impact Wrestling is doing a kind of mock reality show, a bit like Big Brother, called Wrestle House. And the idea is that pretty much everybody who's not really available to wrestle every week, or they don't have anything to do, to have them do, they are putting them in this house, which is apparently Tommy Dreamer's real estate. And the idea is that they all have to sleep there, live there, and they have to resolve their arguments via a wrestling ring. It's fucking hilarious. I honestly think that if you're a wrestling fan who likes a bit of a comedic edge, if you like a bit of carny nonsense, see, I saw a lot of people shitting on this because, of course, it's Impact and they hate anything that's TNA related. But the reality is, right, what would you rather do? Would you rather have the comedy going ridiculously overboard in the ring and taking away from the product? Would you rather have it isolated like this in a reality TV show format? I think it's gold. I think it's absolute money. Kylie Ray is fucking adorable. She's so cute, bless her. She's the referee. She's running around, she's just freaking adorable. How anyone can dislike her is beyond me.
I mean, they're wrong.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's this great dynamic. I hated Johnny Bravo at first, especially because he had appropriated the name of the greatest animation of all time, which wound me up even further. And if you don't know who Johnny Bravo is, you're dead to me. But the idea of him and this love triangle with with Ty Valkyrie and is it Rosemary?
Yes.
Yeah. I always get it. Whenever I think Rosemary, I think, wait a minute, isn't that that's a herb or an herb, as you Americans like to call it? But whatever.
Nice herb.
Yeah, I know. Herbs, man. Stop saying herbs, by the way. Can we just, quick tangent here. Why do you Americans, I know it's not you, Kyle, you don't count because you're Canadian, obviously, because basically Canada is America, but without gun violence and racism.
Oh, you mean with class?
Oh, and you have, and healthcare. Yes, America with class. Oh, I cannot wait for the litigation and emails we're going to get about that. Especially Jay Miller. What do you mean America hasn't got any class? When I'm finished pounding my cousin, you're going to hear right about this. Sorry, Miller.
Are you though?
No, not really. And also, he won't hear this. I reckon he'll hear this about 3 months later. Someone will be like, "Hey, Miller, did you hear that great impression that Aeron did of you?" And you'll be like, "Motherfucker!" It'll just go right over his head. Bless him. Let me know if you are listening, Miller. But either way, yeah. So Canada class. But yeah, stop saying herbs. There is a H in there for a reason. Whereas you guys have got an H. Yeah, it just winds me out. Americans think they can appropriate it. By the way, stop banging on about how we don't speak English properly when we're English. That's another thing that winds me out. I love America dearly, but come on, pronounce things better. It's as simple as that. Anyway, back to the topic at hand, Wrestle House. It's fucking hilarious. Watch it. Really funny. It's about 10-15 minutes of the show every week. It's honestly something that I would happily see made into a proper series on Netflix. I think it's great fun. It's hysterical. It's a good use of talents. The personal highlight for me was Tommy Dreamer being in the bed of the Dinas and then basically saying fight. And like, what, right now? No, in the morning. I need my sleep. Tommy Dreamer's zingers in this were fucking amazing. The No Way Jose jab. For context, they're arguing and somebody says, "No way, Jose." Obviously, as an idiom, not referring to the wrestler, and Tommy Dreamer, sharp as a knife, just comes flying into camera shot and goes, "Excuse me, we didn't sign him." Brilliant stuff like that is what's going to make me pop. The kind of pulling away the fourth wall, so to speak, mentioning ECW and checks bouncing and things like that. That's funny. Smarks enjoy that because, let's be honest, the majority of wrestling fans who are left aren't that casual. They know what they're talking about. They know what they're in for. So the inside knowledge, the inside jokes, they're funny. And I thought Wrestle House was really good this week. And also the Treehouse segment as well. Have you seen this segment yet? I did retweet it.
I might have.
It's Suicide replacing Trey Miguel.
Oh,
in the
yes.
Treehouse.
Yeah, you told me about that. Okay.
Yeah, it's absolutely incredible. Now, Trey Miguel had an opportunity at the Impact Championship this week against Eddie Edwards. Good match, really good match. Nice to see Eddie Edwards getting back to the wrestling side of things because I feel like he's done way too much hardcore nonsense lately, although it looks like Eric Young is going to be next up for him. But yeah, just this really funny moment. Again, for context, the Rascals, their promos, their backstage vignettes are kind of done in what they call a treehouse. The idea is that they're stoned, but they never sort of say they're stoned, I think it's quite funny. I think it's quite well done. And also, all three of those guys are super charismatic, super funny, particularly Zachary Wentz, who is just absolutely, I love him. He's so funny, so quirky. Obviously, I'm a bit biased because I love the Rascals. Desmond Xavier, my boy, follows Wrestle Blog, follows myself. I'm obviously a huge fan of his, met the guys a few times. But they are genuinely really funny. And you watch stuff like this and you think, yeah, the other companies aren't going to do this. I admire the fact that Impact Wrestling is willing to bend reality to suit their wrestlers. I find that fun and enjoyable. It's an alternative. It reminds me of when Lucha Underground were doing all that crazy shit with aliens and people dying and stuff like that. I liked that because it was wacky and it was more movie, film-based, you know? It was more of a fictional property, and I enjoyed that. And let's be honest, right? All these fans that are now marking out about the swamp fight and all the cinematics with the Undertaker and AJ Styles, where does that all stem from? Broken Matt Hardy. Impact Wrestling. Impact Wrestling stuck their necks out for, we're going to let you do crazy shit that, frankly, is not wrestling. And it took off. And ever since then, everyone else has been trying to appropriate it. So Impact, definitely worth a watch. Definitely. Thought Wrestle House was really funny. Very hysterical. Not much else to talk about, to be honest. A couple of buzz things from last week. Are you offended by Sammy Guevara being brought back so soon by AEW?
I'm not. I think as long as he went through the mandated sensitivity training, and as long as he was given the okay from, whatever doctor or professional said he was okay, bring the kid back. I think he learned his lesson. Yeah, we'll just go through these quick fires, so we won't spend more than a couple of minutes on them because I know I've blabbered on, and you know me, I love to go off on a tangent. But for me, Sammy Guevara, what he said was fucking distasteful, it's disgraceful. But at the same time, all it was one statement. Now, also, it was made 4 years ago. In that time, people grow. I've never heard anyone use that term. For anyone who's been living on a rock and doesn't know what he said, he's basically said 4 years ago on a podcast that he'd seen Sasha Banks while he was doing a WWE tryout, and he said that he would have loved to have raped that woman. That comment is, frankly, disgusting, distasteful, unnecessary. However, it is just that. It's a comment. And the fact that people are like, yeah, cancel Sammy Guevara. Absolutely fucking not. First of all, cancel culture. Go fuck yourself. Second of all, it's one comment. They sent him away for sensitivity training. He's come back. He was very apologetic. I can't believe some people criticised his apology and said he wasn't wearing a suit. Go fuck yourself. That makes him seem disingenuous. For me, he served his time. It was one throwaway comment, and it was made 4 years ago as well. And I hate the fact that we're not allowed to grow as human beings. We need to be held fully accountable. We need to be completely buried for something that may have happened many moons ago when we were far more immature. Sammy Guevara has done his time. I have no problem. Here's a story. I don't know if you've noticed this. This has been doing the rounds. There is a strong rumor that Tessa Blanchard wants $150,000 for the return of the authentic Impact Wrestling title. Here's something that you'll really enjoy. Apparently, the belt that Eddie Edwards is currently using is a knockoff that they bought from Pakistan for a couple of $100. I did hear about that, yeah.
Phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. By the way, Pakistan does have a belt maker that makes knockoff belts for about $160 to $200. Any belt you want, and they look fucking fantastic. Honestly, they look great. They look just like the real thing. So if you're after a cut rate belt, check out eBay, because you'll probably be able to get it for about half the price you were anywhere else. But yeah, what do you think about Tessa Blanchard supposedly hijacking the Impact Championship and basically saying, give it back, give me $150,000 or you're not getting your belt back?
I mean, if it's real, I would definitely, I'd have to say I'm a little disappointed. Like, that's not yours. I don't know if it's like, the old school days, like when Ric Flair was WCW champion, for example, and then he had that disagreement with the president, and then he fucked off to WWE, but you had like a deposit on the championship or something, so like it was yours, and that's why he showed up on WWE TV with it. I don't know if that's the case with the Impact Championship. I would assume not, because that seems a little risky for, I don't know, moments such as this. If it's true, I'll be disappointed, but I mean, what are they going to do?
I personally think it's horseshit. I'm not buying it. I think it's horseshit.
No.
It sounds way too far-fetched. I know Tessa Blanchard has had some attitude problems in the past. I know I'm a huge fan. Some people are going to accuse me of being a mark here and defending her for the sake of it. But I truly don't think that's true. I really don't. I think that's nonsense. That just sounds like one of them Carney stories, you know, about... You hear these stupid stories all the time about wrestlers doing crazy things that defy gravity and reality, and here we are with another ridiculous outright story. And also, we don't know the full story. One thing I do know for a fact is that Tessa Blanchard has, well, I say for a fact, but I have to say allegedly, otherwise I might get litigation again. But allegedly, Tessa Blanchard has been given a silencing order from Impact Wrestling. She's not allowed to say anything bad about them or anything negative about them as she moves on, because apparently WWE are very keen and have been sniffing around her with the opportunity of possibly signing her. For me, that smells highly suspicious. It really does. It smells bad is what it does. Why do you need to silence her if you've done nothing wrong? That seems very strange to me. So yeah, I've not seen anything to back up or, you know, kind of confirm that. If that was true, I think Impact would have probably leaked something, or somebody somewhere down the line would have leaked something. So for me, it just sounds like a lot more horse shit. And this is the problem with a lot of the stuff that's been levied at Tessa Blanchard. Is she perfect? Of course she bloody isn't. No wrestler is. But a lot of the things that have been levied at her are all just allegedly. There is no evidence to back up any of it. And I'm sorry to break it to you people on Twitter who are obsessed with the idea of victim support. But in the real world, when it comes to the court of law and justice and just generally real life, if you accuse somebody of something, absolutely, you should have evidence to back that up. That's not always across the case, of course, with things like the speaking out movement and that's a very murky line. I'm not going to sit here and say that people don't have validation in what they say. But in the real world, as a rule of thumb, if you're going to start throwing accusations at people, you should have something to back it up. Sorry, but you should. Otherwise, it's just hearsay. And on social media as well, which is cretinous at the best of times. I don't really have much else to say on the topic. If it is true by some far-fetched reason, then of course it's pretty shameful, but I'll be really surprised. I'm just disappointed that we're not going to see her have an opportunity to truly defend the belt. But who knows? We might all be getting severely worked. She might just turn up in a couple of months' time and attack Eddie Edwards, and then we're all going to fucking lose our shit. So you never know. You never know. But either way, wrestling, mate, it's conjecture, and I think it smells a little bit. But these are topics that I wanted to cover because obviously we didn't get a chance to have a look at them last week. So it is what it is. SummerSlam's coming up. Randy Orton versus Drew McIntyre. Are you excited for that?
I mean, I think Randy Orton's done some of the best work of his career lately, and I mean that genuinely. I have fucking loved everything Randy Orton's done so far. All the stuff with Edge. Hell, I marked a bit with the Big Show. I know a lot of people will just laugh at that, but I remember when I was a kid, the Big Show was a big fucking deal, both literally and figuratively. So I really enjoyed that. Him and Drew, I don't know if that's ever been a regular thing, so sure, give me some of that. I'm excited for that. SummerSlam's got the potential to be a good show, but I don't know, I guess we'll see.
Yes, yeah. It looks like we're probably going to get Sasha Banks versus Asuka again. We're also going to be getting the Street Profits versus Andrade and Garza for the tag titles, which I think should be pretty spectacular. And hopefully some cinematic nonsense to go along with it all, which I'm very excited about. Plenty to look forward to. I actually think WWE's been excellent lately. I really recommend people check it out, especially Raw. Raw has been fantastic. I've really enjoyed Raw. It's just a shame that it's still 3 hours long because I tend to tune out by about the 2.5 hour mark is when I tend to tune out. If they cut it back to 2 hours and did the content that they did in the first sort of couple of hours of this show, wow, would have been an absolutely amazing show, and it would have left you absolutely begging for more. I think the problem with WWE isn't necessarily that the product's bad, it's just that it's so saturated and there's so much of it, it's hard to get behind it, it's hard to enjoy it. I find it hard to find the time to watch NXT after I've watched AEW because I think, I've already watched Raw this week, I'm probably going to watch, I've watched Impact on a Tuesday, I normally tend to have Dark running in the background at some point as well. I try and watch everything. It's just not enough hours in the day, particularly when you're trying to create masterpieces and commissions like I do as well. It can be pretty tiring. So, you know what? please put it back to 2 hours Raw, because it would be really fucking good, and you got enough talent to do so. But nonetheless, I gotta say, all three wrestling companies, as much as I've had a proper whinge on this podcast, have delivered things that I've enjoyed. And also, I don't know if you've seen it, but I really want people to check out. If you can find it, look for Leo Rush versus Joey Janela. Leo Rush made his return at GCW Homecoming last weekend for what is reportedly going to be his last ever wrestling match. Absolute banger. Absolute banger. Absolutely beautiful. And for anyone who does know anything about indie wrestling, and you should do, because you're all marking out that Warhorse on the fucking internet all the time, Joey Janela versus Leo Rush has always been a marvellous rivalry between two truly great wrestlers, and this was a real fantastic exclamation point. Really worth the watch. Won't spoil it for you. Check it out. Great story. Check out the backstory as well. There's loads of videos on YouTube that will get you up to speed pretty quick. Most of it's part of Game Changer Wrestling, but really, really worth the watch. And I'm more than happy to cover those shows as well. So if anyone's listening and they'd like to hear a change of pace, maybe a bit of coverage of GCW, please let me know, because I'll be more than happy to chat about it. It's a really great product. Quite violent, quite edgy, kind of an amalgamation of CZW and Ring of Honor in many ways. But yeah, something different, really cool, and just works in the modern era. Just works. I really enjoy it. But yeah, and obviously soft spot for Leo Rush, man. I think he's fucking awesome, and I clearly see so much potential in the guy, and I wish him nothing but happiness in his future endeavours in his music career. So if you get the chance as well, check out Leo Rush's Lionel Green on Spotify. Some good music there, man. Some really good music. Anything else you want to add, mate, before we wrap it up?
No, I don't think so. I mean, yeah, let's just SummerSlam's in what, a couple weeks?
Yeah, something? August something. August the 11th? No, not August the 11th. I don't know. Is it, yeah, about 2 or 3 weeks.
And well, apparently they're also doing. Do you remember Payback? The pay-per-views Payback. Apparently they're doing one of those a week after SummerSlam.
Really?
Yeah, like SummerSlam, and then boom, another pay-per-view.
No, thank you. Just no. NXT TakeOver 30 should be a bit of a fucking screamer, though. It's certainly looking like it could be a naughty one. Karrion Kross versus Keith Lee alone could sell any pay-per-view. And with Io Shirai versus Dakota Kai happening on that show as well, I'm very excited. Very, very excited. I think NXT is just great at the moment. So, yeah, plenty to look forward to, guys. If you want more regular content from us, let us know. We've still got some interviews to go. For anyone who is listening, we refrained it from dropping all the interviews because of the speaking out movement and things like that. Now that that's kind of not so much dying down, but kind of reached its... I don't know what to say about that, really, obviously, without upsetting somebody. You're always going to upset somebody. But we wanted to take a break from those, and the podcast has kind of been on the back burner a little bit with everything going on. And, you know, like I've said, obviously striving to survive and put food on the table and things like that. But, yeah, we will endeavour to try and get those interviews out to you fairly soon. My apologies to the talent involved. It was a real bad timing. You know, we had all these interviews set up, ready to go, and then, you know, we had to kind of put a back burner of things. But we'll endeavour to get those out to you at some point and hopefully bring more content to you. But ultimately, it's kind of up to you guys. If you're not really that bothered, then obviously we're not going to murder ourselves to give you more content. Simple as that. But from myself, Aeron and from Kyle Wilkinson, thank you very much for listening to the State Wrestling Address. It's been a while, so it's nice to get something fresh out there. And as always, you can always contact us with any thoughts, any problems you have. Don't forget, ladies and gentlemen, there is still a fucking pandemic going on, so wear a fucking mask, social distance, wash your hands, wash your asshole, all that kind of stuff. Clean your jockstrap, whatever it might be. And most importantly, just try and look after each other and reach out to people who are more vulnerable than yourselves, because you never know how much a phone call or a little gesture might help somebody in their life. Take it easy, gang.
This content was brought to you by the Wrestle Plug Podcast.